Hello, everybody. We welcome you to the 2024 Concacaf Futsal Championship. It is Group C, Match Day 2, here in Managua, Nicaragua, as we look at the group table. This matchup begins with Trinidad and Tobago taking on Guatemala. After Guatemala were able to win on Match Day 1, that puts them just behind the United States in the group. Trinidad and Tobago, of course, will need to respond with a victory today if they are to stay on course to get back on track, really, for a potential spot in the knockout stage. As the top two teams automatically qualify, there are opportunities for third-place teams to go through as well, which is why time is of the essence for Trinidad and Tobago in particular. Guatemala looked really good on Match Day 1, a 7-5 win over the Dominican Republic. It was the match that had the most goals on Match Day 1. We will see how they fare, ranked number 2 by CONCACAF heading in to these championships. And of course, Guatemala have plenty of strong history in their futsal past. We will see if that comes to the fore yet again today. For Trinidad and Tobago, of course, they are trying to make new history. They are trying to add new chapters onto what has already been success in the past for them, but they are, of course, hoping to get through to the knockout stages. In their 4th appearance in the championship, they're trying to get there for the very first time. Nicaragua have been great hosts so far for this CONCACAF Futsal Championship. Fans still filing in at the Polideportivo Alexis Arguello. Again, the U.S. will take on the Dominican Republic a little bit later on. We'll have both of these Group C encounters here for you, back to back. And of course, the U.S., maybe not necessarily the favorites, but they looked really good against Trinidad and Tobago on Match Day 1 as well. The Soca Warriors will have to bounce back after a 7-4 defeat against the Stars and Stripes. And of course, Costa Rica and the other groups, the 3-time defending champions, they've also planted the flag. They've looked good. So plenty of contenders have already emerged through the first match day. And we'll await to see if maybe new contenders can emerge, the likes of Trinidad and Tobago, maybe others. Or will teams like Guatemala, the U.S., and of course the DR, who are underdogs in this group, we'll have to wait and see how
les pedimos ponerse de pie para escuchar las notas del himno nacional de Trinidad y Tobago. Nos mantenemos de pie para escuchar el himno de Guatemala.
Wonderful rendition of both countries' national anthems. Plenty of passion on display, as we've come to expect from these two countries. Seems like it doesn't matter what the surface, what the sport is, these two always bring the best out of each other, and it's another big occasion for these two countries to shine on the big stage today. A lot on the line, there's no question about that. Both teams could really use the 3 points. Trinidad and Tobago, of course, in particular, really could use a result today. And Paul Deckel's starting lineup looks like this. Andre Marchand captains the side. He will be in goal for Trinidad and Tobago. And the outfield players, Michel Poon-Angaron, Darius Oliveira, Adrian Welch, and Jelani Felix. And then amongst the substitutes, Che Benny stands out after converting a penalty on match day 1 here in Group C. And it was a 7-4 defeat against the United States, and because of those match day 1 results, the U.S. and Guatemala at the moment the favorites to go through automatically out of this group. As we look at our officiating crew, Yerfi Solis of Cuba is our head official. Canada, Mexico, Panama also represented amongst our officiating crew today here in Nicaragua. The two captains meet. Alan Aguilar, who's actually going to be starting as a substitute for Guatemala, captains the side. And of course, along with Costa Rica and others, Guatemala are one of the favorites at this tournament. Carlos Estrada's starting lineup is really, really strong. Jose Reyes is in goal. Edgar Santizo, Jose Marin, Marvin Sandoval, and Fernando Campagnac is the 5 to look for there. And we mentioned Aguilar, who captains the side, starts on the bench along with the likes of Johnny Diaz and Brian Santizo, who could all be impact players if need be today. Well, as the tournament has shown already, we could have a very rip-roaring affair here in this one. Both teams were involved in double-digit scoring games on match day 1. We could see the same today, but you never quite know when the lights shine the brightest what could happen. A win for Guatemala would put them at the top of the group. And a win for Trinidad and Tobago would make it a 3-way tie at the top of Group C as the first period is underway here from Nicaragua. Can Guatemala build on their lovely start in the group. They try to get off to a very quick start. It's going to go out of play. And Trinidad and Tobago will get a reset early on here. And there could be so many twists and turns throughout a futsal match. It's not always as simple as can you score first, but when Guatemala can get a lead, they do tend to do well at these tournaments. It's their 6th appearance at the Futsal Championship. They have one title back in 2008. It's considering the fact that the tournament's been played since '96 every 4 years. It's rather impressive as the goalkeeper came out there, Marchand, to try and close down the angle. He ends up doing rather well, forcing Guatemala misplaced pass and a quick reset. Marin on the edge of the arc. A shot came in from Sandoval. It was blocked away. It's well defended in the end by Trinidad and Tobago. Santizo. And again, here's Sandoval. Just tried to thread the needle there. Might get another chance here, Sandoval. He lays it off. And then gets it back. It's blocked by Oliveira, caught by Marchand. Needed to be closed down there. And then the outlet gives it right back to Guatemala in these early stages. And the U.S. and the Dominican Republic to follow in our second game here in Group C. Top 2 teams progress, and then the 2 best third-place teams move on as well. So even with that being put into play, Trinidad and Tobago, a result could do them the world of good. Just to finish higher than the Dominican Republic would put them in a position to still potentially progress. That's a giveaway, though, and that's a crucial block by Marchand. Sandoval had a real chance there for Guatemala off a miscue, but the captain saves the Soca Warriors here. He came quickly off of his line and did more than enough to get a piece of it. Volleyed there fiercely by Marin. It's blocked back out. This is what Guatemala are capable of. They can just suffocate you and keep it on this end of the floor. Sandoval tries again. It's ricocheted back to him. Paniak just lost control, but Jose Reyes can quickly recycle. Sandoval. He's been very, very active, and then that's a layoff. Campagnac drags it wide. Now, Edgar Santizo does really well to set this up initially, then it's a good layoff, and now Marchand looked beaten there if that was on target, but it was wide of the frame. Bit of a shift change here for Guatemala. New players out there, led by the captain, Alan Aguilar, along with Wanderlei Ruiz. Patrick Ruiz out there as well. And Roberto Alvarado, part of a fresh group. So Trinidad and Tobago have stayed with the same men for now on the pitch. On the floor, I should say. Jelani Felix loses out. We'll go to the group of Guatemalan substitutes. Now, these early 3 minutes, we've just seen Guatemala take the initiative early here, and Trinidad and Tobago have not had any real attacking threats. Reyes alert, able to clear. Alvarado plays a lovely ball in. Trinidad and Tobago do enough to settle things down. Recycled by Aguilar. Patrick Ruiz. Wanderlei. Ruiz, a little back heel. Give and go attempt. Nearly came off for Guatemala. Maybe a chance here for Trinidad and Tobago in transition, but the ball ahead. Looking for Purangaron is cut out by Reyes. Alvarado at the other end. Sees his shot blocked. And Marchand not happy with the way Trinidad and Tobago got back there, but they do enough. And they're able to stifle the opportunity. Well, again, Trinidad and Tobago are trying to make a bit of history in this futsal championship. It's their 4th time making it. They've never progressed to the knockout stages. A result here could go a long way in helping them make some history. Oh, and that was an opportunity on the edge of the arc there. Alvarado just couldn't control it. As it does look like there's a fresh batch of Trinidad and Tobago players out there. Shane Hospitalis, along with Jamil Neptune, part of the changes. And as I say that, Guatemala refreshed the deck as well. Sandoval's back out there, and he quickly gives the ball away. But then it's a slip by Neptune. Guatemala have the numbers. Lovely back heel, and the chance is skied by Alvarado with the goal gaping. How quickly things can change. It looked like Trinidad and Tobago had the numbers. Goalkeeper commits, didn't get there, and then Alvarado skies it. Both teams having real chances there within seconds. And again, Trinidad and Tobago have not offered much in this end yet. Can that change? Che Benny, who scored on match day 1. Guatemala can break here. It's a real opportunity for a shot, and the cross instead. Campagnac is going to go out of play. Well, maybe the option there was to take on the shot, but he didn't feel like he had the angle. Invited a teammate. It was too late for the pass as well. That shot is blocked on the edge. Marin through a sea of legs. Goes back to Trinidad and Tobago. I could see what Che Benny was trying to do there. A little too much arc on it. It was well shepherded out by Jose Reyes, who gets to get Guatemala back on the front foot, which they've enjoyed plenty of in these opening minutes. Oliveira and company back on for Trinidad and Tobago. When the ball was laid off, and Sandoval, well, he tried to slash it across, and Campagnac wasn't ready for it. It goes right past him. Of course, what's also on the line is trying to get to those semi-final stages for a chance to get to the Futsal World Cup as well. Which Guatemala know all about. They've been there 5 times in their history, trying to make it an even 6 this time around. For Trinidad and Tobago, it might feel like a distant dream to get there, but a result here today, even a draw, could put them in position to maybe take that next step, which they haven't been able to do in tournaments past. Benny with a little dink over the top. Maybe a chance here for Trinidad and Tobago. They score. Che Benny gives the underdogs the lead. They really haven't offered a ton in the attack, but it's a wonderful finish off the ball across by Oliveira. And Che Benny, who scored from a penalty against the U.S., scores from open play against Guatemala. And it's a Trinidad and Tobago sucker punch here in the first period. And Guatemala, after a really bright start, have fallen behind, and they try to get it back to level terms right away. Marchand with the save. Another chance is blocked. Recycled by Campagnac, and a reshuffle of the cards. Here's Sandoval, another good save by Marchand. It'll stay with Guatemala. Marin drags it shot wide. I'll give Trinidad and Tobago a lot of credit. They absorbed the early pressure. There's going to be more to come. They took the chance so well at the other end. Oliveira finding Che Benny, who finished it really well. Trinidad and Tobago 9th in the Concacaf rankings, taking on Guatemala, who are 2nd. Of course, the U.S. in this group, they're 4th. Of course, everyone's going to be looking up at the Ticos, what Costa Rica have been able to do. They've already put together a dynasty, 3-time defending champs. They've won 4 titles, which is the most in the Concacaf Futsal Championship. As Marchand's called upon again off the turn by Tagre, the substitute. Sandoval got it started. It's a dummy, tight angle for the shot, and it's wide by Marin, who just tried to bend it past Marchand, who's not giving too much space there on the near side. Marin had the right idea as he heads to the bench. It was one of those where Marchand used his length, and the angle was against him as well. Just couldn't really wrap his boot around it. Ruiz up ahead, and Alvarado's had 2 big chances now to get Guatemala on the board. Couldn't take this one. And again, it was just that angle that maybe thwarts him. Marchand's had to be aggressive multiple times off of his line. Hasn't always gotten there. There's a brief stoppage for us to look back at the Che Benny finish. And maybe the contingent for Guatemala, Carlos Estrada, the coach. Well, they're going to have to regroup. Guatemala, wonderful recovery by Trinidad and Tobago after the early onslaught by Guatemala, who could have had a couple already. I think that's fair to say in this first period, but when you can't take your chances, especially at one point, Trinidad and Tobago left the goal gaping. Marchand had come out, didn't get there. Alvarado missed a couple big chances as well. During this reset, it'll be interesting to see how Guatemala come out. Will they be able to be as aggressive as they were in the opening minutes? Jay Benny's goal has Trinidad and Tobago ahead. That's a poor giveaway out of a stoppage, allowing Guatemala to get right back on the front foot here. Aguilar, Alvarado, Ruiz, Wanderlei Ruiz, Roberto Alvarado. It's good skill. Alvarado again. Shot blocked off the line. Aguilar blasts it over. Well, again, Marchand beaten there. And then Reyes has to punch the clearance away at the other end. Big goal line clearance from Trinidad and Tobago up the other end. Now Trinidad and Tobago really play their way through. Reyes comes out and stops it. Ruiz. Aguilar. Alvarado. Aguilar. Aguilar's shot is blocked. Another chance to equalize. Marchand thwarting Ruiz. Stays at 1-0 to Trinidad and Tobago. Patrick Ruiz didn't have enough time to get the clean shot away. It was blocked. There was maybe a coming together away from the play there. Alvarado defended well by Benny. Shane Hospitales is back on for Trinidad and Tobago. Patrick Ruiz. That's a real good opportunity on the turn. Aguilar stifled. More good defensive work from Trinidad and Tobago. They look to turn it into attack. And Jamil Neptune just couldn't get a boot on it. And then Alvarado gives it away. Here's Benny. It's a 2-on-1. Benny saved by Reyes. Still up for grabs. And then Hospitales puts it wide. Just past the halfway point of the period. That's a real opportunity as well for Guatemala outside of the boot shot. It goes wide in the end. Edgar Santizo. It was teasing. He was not able to find the target. Matthew Wooling is on for Trinidad and Tobago. Off the reset. Alvarado has his shot blocked. Another opportunity spurned by Patrick Ruiz. It wasn't far away. Dale McLean, a good outlet there for Trinidad and Tobago. But in the end, it doesn't lead to too much. It's an errant pass. Brian Santizo leads another fresh group of subs out onto the floor for Guatemala. They're still in search of a leveler. A little bit of a nudge out of play. On our first real talking to from the referee in the middle. Dylan King. A bit of an unnecessary shove. Referee does give it to Guatemala. Tagre just didn't have enough time again to unleash an effort. Santizo. Sandoval. Tough shot again from a tough angle. Marchand meets it. Another flurry of Guatemalan attacks. Sandoval off the post. That's the closest Guatemala's come in quite some time. Was it saved off the post? I don't think so. Right off the frame. Was there a foul there? Trinidad and Tobago appealing. It's not been given. Brian Santizo. And he just tries to poke it through. Can't find the angle and really couldn't find the target, more importantly. More good defending. As Oliveira's back on for Trinidad and Tobago. This has been the story. Guatemalan pressure and then rare opportunities for Trinidad and Tobago up the other end. They've taken one of them. Tagre. Santizo for Guatemala. Blocked. Edgar Santizo. Tagre. Wide. And more encouragement for Deckel's group. Now Coach Paul Deckel's got to feel great so far. Long way to go in the first period, but defensively, Trinidad and Tobago, yes, they've maybe rode their luck a bit, but they've been outstanding. Oh, scuffed shot. Off the boot of Tagre, and then it is going to squirt out for a restart on the corner here. But then the pass gives it right back. Allowing numbers to come forward. Edgar Santizo. Sandoval. Sandoval gives it away. King the other way for Trinidad and Tobago. This is Perry, blocked. Good defensive work by Edgar Santizo, and then right off the bat there, Trinidad and Tobago concede possession. Brian Santizo up ahead. It could open up here. Marchand is able to thwart Marvin Sandoval, who made a great run back up the floor to get on the end of it, but was second best. Was there a nibble there? Yes. Foul against Nelson Tagre. haven't heard the whistle much in this first period. You can see what Marchand was trying to do there. Thumbs up for the effort from Kareem Perry. A restart again for Guatemala. Just hasn't quite happened for them yet in this first period. Remember, they scored 7 against the Dominican Republic last time out. Yet to score here. Oh, and they nearly were able to score on that attempt. Lovely ball through. Wanderlei Ruiz couldn't get his feet right. Here's the goal scorer, Benny. They tried to turn just in front of Carlos Estrada. That's going to be a stoppage here. I think Carlos Estrada wants to talk things over for Guatemala. And again, the Dominican Republic are, by some metrics, the real underdogs in this group. It's a step up in competition, some would say, to go from the DR to play Trinidad and Tobago. But I don't think many would have expected that the Soca Warriors at this stage would have a lead. And certainly that Guatemala would not have scored yet. I think that might be the even bigger surprise of this first period. Has it been for a lack of trying? There's been many opportunities for Carlos Estrada's group. But Andre Marchand, the Trinidad and Tobago captain's been equal to pretty much all of them. He's been bailed out by the frame once. There's been a couple of goal line clearances. But Che Benny's taken the big chance. Still a lot of time left, though, to change the first period narrative. Here's the captain, Aguilar, closed down. Was that captain play? The answer is no. I'll go back to Guatemala, despite the efforts from Jamil Neptune, who also could have scored in this first half. Aguilar again. Alvarado's come oh so close. Aguilar, great defensive work by Neptune. He gets it out of play. Aguilar. Aguilar again. Kick save by Marchand. Oh, it's lovely little give and go there, but wonderful save by Andre Marchand. Not for the first time, to say the least. It's not the best re-entry there. But it stays with Guatemala despite that. Ball played across, looking for Aguilar, another clearance. And Trinidad and Tobago again have numbers if they hurry. It's Benny across! It's 2! Shane Hospitales doubles the Trinidad and Tobago advantage. A brilliant break. And it's double trouble for Guatemala. It's 2-0. Benny goes from being the scorer to the provider. Shane Hospitales with a beauty of a finish. And Guatemala now have a real deficit to contend with now. Under 4 left in the period. It's the second time that Trinidad and Tobago has absorbed the pressure, leaked out when they could, and landed a sucker punch. And now the goalkeeper's committed again. He didn't get there. Another goal line clearance from Punangaron. It just isn't quite happening here for Guatemala. At least not yet. Patrick Ruiz trying to get it back to Aguilar. Alvarado. Aguilar. Looking to provide the spark, but he loses out. Trinidad and Tobago look to come back the other way. Critical intervention by Wanderlei Ruiz. Now we're starting to get to next goal is crucial territory here. It's certainly an unlikely scoreline, but another, and Guatemala could be in real trouble. Santizo. Ruiz. Beautifully defended by Punangaron. What could he do in transition? He finds Benny, and Benny couldn't quite link up with a teammate in Adrian Welch. Another turnover. Well, referee says nothing doing there, it looks like, as Darius Oliveira went down. Another look at the challenge. Well, minimal contact, to be fair. And it was incidental. Oliveira still not happy, but I think that was a relatively fair decision. Oliveira slips on it. Guatemala win it back. It's a real chance! And it's wide from Campagnac. That's a move that epitomizes the half for Guatemala. That should have been a goal. And Marvin Sandoval, you could see the reaction. He was waiting for a pass. Maybe not so much the shot. It's been a period of missed opportunities for Guatemala. And they have been punished. Can they work their way back into it here? That's a wonderful ball across, but again, nobody could get on the end of it. Santizo playing it across, and Campagnac maybe went down, but didn't get a touch. Campagnac keeps it in for Jose Reyes. Edgar Santizo, final 2 minutes of the period. Brian Santizo, back heel to keep it in play. And again, it's recycled around well, but it's a sputtering shot from Fernando Campagnac. Just not enough venom on it. Still time left to give Guatemala a bit of a jolt before we get to the break. Oh, lovely play there. Ball rolled into Sandoval. Saved by Marchand again. Everything but the finish. Another chance. Blocked. Carlos Estrada, oh, you could see a little shake on his head. There's a volley, another one. That's going to be blocked out. Trinidad and Tobago just throwing bodies at it at the end of the half, and Sandoval again is thwarted. Trying to hold on to their 2-goal advantage. Sandoval again blocked. On the rebound, Marchand with his upper body makes the save. Not sure which part might have hit off of his face. He still keeps it out. And then it's volleyed out of play up the other end by Wu Ling. Paul Deckel could really feel that his team is gaining more momentum. Final 30 seconds of the period. Santizo, nowhere to go. Lays it off. Edgar Santizo. Back for Brian Santizo. Blocked again. This time Neptune standing tall with 11 seconds left. Final 10 seconds. Down to 5. And Guatemala will not get another shot away. That is how the half ends. An incredible defensive stand at the end of the period from Trinidad and Tobago. And they take a 2-0 cushion into the half. Che Benny with a goal and an assist. Shane Hospitales making it 2-0 to Trinidad and Tobago in the final minutes of the half. And the favorites in the group, and the favorites certainly in this game, have plenty to think about at the half here in Nicaragua. It's Trinidad and Tobago 2, it's Guatemala 0. Players are back out at the start of the second half. Sean St. Jacques, our entire crew, thrilled to have you back with us. 2024 Concacaf Futsal Championship. This is Group C. And we could have a bit of an upset on our hands here. Guatemala having to come back from a 2-goal deficit. And we will see how they're able to handle it in this second half. Che Benny and Shane Hospitalis with the 2 goals, both against the run of play. In Guatemala, they came back out really early at the start of the second half. We'll wait to see what adjustments that Carlos Estrada is going to make. See, at times in that first half, he was almost perplexed as to how his team has found themselves in this position. There's a great Guatemalan contingent here that has been cheering them on, not just on match day 1, but in the early stages of this second match day. Again, if it stays like this is where things could get really interesting. In the CONCACAF rankings, Trinidad and Tobago ranked 9th, which is why this is a bit of a stunner so far. But give the Soca Warriors a ton of credit. The 2 big opportunities in transition that they've been able to create, they have taken. And that's what's put Paul Deckel's side in a very, very strong position. But remember, Guatemala scored 7 goals in the first group stage match. They're certainly capable of turning this around. But it does also feel like one more goal would put Trinidad and Tobago potentially in the box seat here. Trinidad and Tobago will be going from right to left in their whites with the red coloring and shapes down the front. Can they keep the momentum rolling from that first period? Darius Oliveira will have the first touch on it at the start of the second half. Starters for both teams are back out there. And the second half is underway. Santizo. Quicker Guatemala can get going, the better. This is Sandoval. Santizo. Edgar Santizo loses out. And some trickery from Oliveira, but it's unsuccessful. It still could fall for a chance here for Trinidad and Tobago. The chance is spurned wide. A bit of frustration there. Punangaran has really shined at times defensively. Couldn't quite bring the same into the attack. Now that Guatemala's chance is ricocheted, and it goes wide. Marchand rooted to the spot. I think Oliveira got a big defensive touch onto that. Here's Reyes. Santizo probing. Pignac. Santizo lays it off for Edgar Santizo. And more encouragement coming from the Trinidad and Tobago bench after another big block. There's a rocket. Blocked away by Marchand off the boot of Sandoval. Sandoval again. Marchand saves. No rebound. As Campagnac was falling as he tried to hit it. Sandoval again. Brian Santizo teasing and scoring. There's the lifeline for Guatemala. It was going to come eventually, and Brian Santizo gives them hope. It's 2-1. Off the heel of Marchand, who got a big touch on it, but it deflected on the way through. And maybe a bit of luck is what Guatemala needed to get back in the match. Now Trinidad and Tobago are a bit unfortunate there, but they had been riding their luck a bit. 2-1. Obviously a lot of time left. Is that the turning point for Guatemala? There's going to be more and more pressure. Trinidad and Tobago have to feel that 2 was never going to be enough, but now can they add again, I should say, onto their lead? That becomes a big point of contention and concern. Oh, it's a lovely little ball roll and a give and go as well. Backheeled and then saved by Reyes. Huge moment. Lovely skill. Oh, and then from the restart, it hits the side netting. A huge save from Jose Reyes off a little bit of luscious play from Trinidad and Tobago. In the end, Welch denied. Again, a little give and go. It's cut out nicely by Brian Santizo, the goal scorer. And he has Guatemala back in possession. Just about 3 minutes gone in the half. Guatemala have cut the lead in half. Can they get it back to level terms? Oh, miscommunication here. Trinidad and Tobago have the numbers if they hurry. Welch couldn't quite find a teammate or put it towards the target. Aguilar. Ooh, blocked by Benny. Was there a hand in there? Couple appeals. Guatemala get on with it. Aguilar. Back into the middle. Good defensive work by Felix. Marchand collects. and just throws it out just to try to find somebody, but it's a turnover. Another look here at the shot. Oh, Benny puts both of his hands up to block that. Well, Guatemala had a case possibly there for a penalty, it looks like. My goodness. Ruiz. Aguilar, the captain, rotated around by Wanderlei. Ruiz, this could open up, and it's off the post. Oh my, Alvarado thwarted again. How many close calls has he had? It's got to be the third or fourth big chance he's come close on. Guatemala have hit both posts in the match. The left one at this end and the right one at the other end. Alvarado again, saved by Marchand. And from the set piece, it's going to be blocked away. Benny trying to get it poked the other way. Reyes collects. Wanderlei Ruiz. Oh, he actually fell down. He was impeded by Che Benny. As there was a chance at a give and go. And Che Benny is booked. That's the first time we've seen even an inkling of a yellow card. Haven't been many fouls in general, frankly, as this one has moved along. But it leads to a real opportunity here for Guatemala. Wanderlei Ruiz will stand over it. Two in the wall. Ruiz lays it off. Aguilar equalizes! Alan Aguilar with a captain's goal brings Guatemala level from 2-0 down. It's 2-2. So well worked on the restart. Lovely little ball roll off the bar and in. Crucial captain's goal from Aguilar. And Guatemala have indeed flipped the script. Well, now how do Trinidad and Tobago respond? They've been pegged back. Goals from Brian Santizo and Alan Aguilar, two of the substitutes for Guatemala, have come up with huge moments for them here. And that goal changes things in the live table. That puts Guatemala into first with just 4 points. It would leave the door open for the U.S. to get back to the top of the group. But there's still a lot of work left to be done, and Guatemala look to take their first lead of the game, and Ruiz, maybe one too many dribbles. Wanderlei Ruiz had a real chance there, and now Trinidad and Tobago look to break the other way. Laid off by King. And not enough time for Hospitales to really take aim, but it's given back a second time to Wuling. Oh, and Wuling is dispossessed. Alvarado scores! Roberto Alvarado finally converts for Guatemala. And in a flash, Guatemala take their first lead of the match. Trailing 2-0 at the break. They've come back to take a 3-2 lead, just like that. And you could see what it means to Roberto Alvarado. He's come so close throughout the match. He finally converts. And Trinidad and Tobago's defense has been breached a third time in the half. Oh, and nearly a fourth. Headed over the top by Tagre. Now a response is needed for the Soca Warriors. They've seen their lead turn into a deficit. Guatemala are back on track to get back to the top, frankly, of Group C, but there's still a long bit of time left. It's a good back heel. And the shot is wide. Tagre. Marchand maybe got a piece on that. Santizo tried to poke it past Marchand. Well, it was clever because if it ricocheted, it could have came right back out for another chance. Sandoval, oh, it's laid off. And blasted wide of the target. Tagre, who's also had many opportunities. Well, must be said, Guatemala from some of these set plays have done really well to catch Trinidad and Tobago out. That led to one of the goals and nearly led to another. Edgar Santizo, is this where Guatemala really stamped their authority on the match? Tagre. Sandoval, oh, brilliant finish! As he was getting closed down, the quick trigger from Marvin Sandoval gives Guatemala a 4-2 lead. Now the engines are really humming. From a tight angle, Marvin Sandoval with a classy finish for Guatemala. Now we're really starting to see Guatemala hit the heights we expected. 4 unanswered goals in the second half. And Trinidad and Tobago now are the ones in some trouble. But we said how important that next goal at 2-0 was going to be. Still 12 minutes left, but it's proved paramount to Guatemala finding their feet in this second half. Could be an opportunity now for Guatemala not only to see this out, but maybe even improve their goal difference as they battle for top place in the group with the U.S., who play the Dominican Republic after this one ends. Rare misplaced pass there from Nelson Tagre. Jay Benny's back on for Trinidad and Tobago. He's been their main source of offense. And he gets on the end of this one here, and he scores! He's the man they've relied on, Jay Benny. He scores again! And it's 4-3. 2 goals and an assist for Che Benny. Literally seconds after rejoining the game, he scores off the post. And Trinidad and Tobago have indeed found a response again. Plenty of time still to be played. A few more twists and turns in the offing. Just when it looked like Trinidad and Tobago could have been in real trouble, Che Benny rides into the rescue. Now that can Trinidad and Tobago plug some of the holes defensively like they did in the first half. Oh, that's a good save by Marchand. Another tight angle. Here's Che Benny. Does he have more magic up his sleeve? Oh, good defending by Punangaran. It's going to stay with Guatemala. Nearly midway through the second period. That's a shot blocked away. Would nearly fell for an opportunity on the edge. The Arc Neptune helping out. It's going to stay with Trinidad and Tobago. Final quarter of the match, 10 minutes to go. Guatemala were tied with the most goals after match day 1 with 7. That's why it was so stunning that they were kept to a clean sheet at halftime of this game. They came alive, though. At the start of this second half, they went from 2-0 down to 4-2 up. But Che Benny, as he's done the entire group stage to this point, for Trinidad and Tobago, has given them new life. Oh, Marchand really committed off of his line, and I think he did just about enough to impede Patrick Ruiz's progress. Oh, and Punangaran tried to restart the play. I think the assistant on the near side says it was not restarted properly. And Carlos Estrada's men get the ball back. That's a poor giveaway. Unforced error there. And Aguilar unleashes an effort. Sees his shot blocked. Guatemala have it back again. Alvarado thwarted. That's another giveaway. It's a cheap giveaway as well. Was there a trip in the sequence there? Yes, free kick. Hospitales, who scored earlier in the first half, was appealing, but it was Che Benny's challenge. Another piece of defending for Trinidad and Tobago to have to deal with. Wanderlei Ruiz and Alan Aguilar are over this. Oh, and as that's happening, Andre Marchand is in some discomfort here for Trinidad and Tobago. I can't question his heart and his effort in this game today. He has at times stood on his head for the Soca Warriors. He's saying he's okay, but might have been feeling a bit of discomfort in his shoulder. He's frustrated coming off. Kelvin Henry is getting readied and is actually going to come on as well for Trinidad and Tobago. Andre Marchand, at least for now, is going to have to sit this out. Crucial bit of defending to be done, and Kelvin Henry's just getting his feet wet in this one. Big run up here for Wanderlei Ruiz. Plays the pass instead. That's a crucial block across the face. Punangaran does well. And it could lead to a break again for Trinidad and Tobago, but Shea Benny just couldn't quite control it before some Guatemala changes are made. Now we are getting down to crunch time. Trinidad and Tobago have let a 2-goal lead slip. Guatemala trying to make sure that doesn't happen to them. Oh, nice ball played up ahead, Tagre. Henry did well to come off his line. It's that extra defender. Brian Santizo. Oh, he had good skill initially with a little cheeky ball roll, but lost out. But then Trinidad and Tobago can't do much initially in transition. But look at a chance from this near side. Oh, little extracurriculars there. Referee making sure none of it persists. Hospitales gives it right back, but it'll stay on this near side. That was miscommunication between the two Trinidad and Tobago goal scorers there. Benny wasn't able to find Neptune. Goes back to Guatemala. Just under 8 minutes left. Guatemala would go to the top of Group C for now if they can hold on. They're trying to add on at the moment. Ryan Santizo blocked. Sandoval retrieves for Reyes, who's also had a big save in the match. Lovely chest control by Tagre. Santizo. Now then, Sandoval, what needed a goal line clearance. On the back end, Jamil Neptune able to save it as Marchand is back in for Trinidad and Tobago. You can see him trying to stretch out that shoulder. Oh, and he makes a good save there, but the rebound, oh, it's wide from Edgar Santizo off the rip from Tagre, which Marchand was able to parry. Another look, there's the effort from Tagre, and then just wide from Edgar Santizo. When 6:48 to go, there'll be a chance for both teams to talk it over. And we get a brief opportunity to recap what's turned into be a very thrilling encounter. Again, remember, Trinidad and Tobago were 2-0 up at the half, and then Marvin Sandoval and company scoring. It's some sighs of relief from the Guatemalan contingent. However, Che Benny has brought Trinidad and Tobago right back in it. And with 6:48 left, it's on a knife edge here in Nicaragua. Trinidad and Tobago at the half were 2-0 up. Goals from Che Benny and Shane Hospitales. But then Guatemala responded quickly at the start of the second period. 4 unanswered goals. Brian Santizo with the big one to get them back in the match. Alan Aguilar equalized shortly after. And then the floodgates opened. And then the key finish from Marvin Sandoval. Put Guatemala 4-2 up. But that man, Che Benny, has given the Soca Warriors new life. Can they recover from a 2-goal deficit just as their opposition has? Oh, miscommunication there between Neptune and Benny. Remember, Benny has been involved in all 3 goals. He has 2 goals and he assisted the Hospitales goal that made it, at the time, 2-0 to Trinidad and Tobago. Obviously, a lot has changed since. And remember, there'll be a brief stoppage, but then we will have a second game between the U.S. and the Dominican Republic in this same group, as Marchand again with a brave clearance and deflection. Aguilar. Chance for a shot, and it goes wide. Was there a deflection on it? I think there might have been. Alvarado, who scored the other Guatemala goal. His shot was blocked. And then from the restart, it's going to go back out for Wanderlei Ruiz. Oh, and Wanderlei Ruiz just trying to flick it up for, I believe, Alvarado. Beg your pardon, it was actually Patrick Ruiz. Could not find him. Now then, what can Trinidad and Tobago conjure up? Welch runs out of space. You can see now Guatemala milking a little bit more of the clock. Some game management, perhaps, and they might get another. Crucial defense again from Punangaron. This time he thwarts Patrick Ruiz. Wanderlei Ruiz sets it up. And again, Patrick Ruiz sees it ricochet out. Could have easily gone on target. Ruiz tries again and bends it wide. Up ahead for Neptune, Reyes. Some pressure here for Guatemala to have to deal with. Welch is putting it on. Alvarado keeps it with Guatemala. Aguilar couldn't quite get it out from under his feet. From the restart, Aguilar played it across, and it's finished off by Patrick Ruiz, who finally gets his goal. And with just over 5 minutes left, Guatemala reestablish their 2-goal lead They quickly whip it around the arc, and it's a great finish from Patrick Ruiz, who has certainly earned that for Guatemala. He's had multiple close calls in recent minutes. And now Trinidad and Tobago again need to try to climb their way back. Alvarado wins it back for Guatemala. Advantage is played, it's laid off, and Marchand makes the save on the Sandoval attempt. Sandoval does well to win it back for Guatemala. Another close call there. Marchand barking at his team for more. Trinidad and Tobago are starting to run a little bit short on time here. Wanderlei Ruiz heads to the bench. Oh, it's another good set play. Guatemala love using those corner routines, and this could open up here for Trinidad and Tobago. And the shot is sent over the top by Darius Oliveira. That again could have given Trinidad and Tobago some life. Now up by 2. You can see Guatemala really trying to control the clock. And they really can with their fantastic passing and control. Guatemala will take on the U.S. in the final group game in Group C. That's their next test. If they can see this out, that could potentially be see who decides the group winner. Well, Trinidad and Tobago thought that was going to be their possession. It's going to go to Guatemala here. More defending to do. Under 3 minutes left. Santizo for Aguilar. Aguilar again. Edgar Santizo. One more would surely be enough for Guatemala to seal the points. Brian Santizo, and it was a teasing ball in. Marchand is there. But Brian Santizo wins it back. Guatemala have the numbers. Brian Santizo saved. Marchand keeps Trinidad and Tobago in it. And they come back the other way. Jose Reyes, critical save. Off the boot of Dylan King. Benny, also saved by Reyes. This is the most action I think Jose Reyes has seen consistently throughout the match. But he has stayed ready for Guatemala. 2 critical stops. And there's under 2 to play. Is there life left in the Soca Warriors? Their final group game will be against the Dominican Republic. Marchand again keeps them alive. Remember, third place is still very much at stake in this group, so a loss for Trinidad and Tobago isn't curtains yet. They still have time to fight their way back. Benny tries to move it ahead. Alvarado has it for Guatemala. Plays it across, and it's skied by Wanderlei Ruiz, who had a chance to seal the points. Put off in the end by Hospedales. Another chance for Guatemala. Hospedales is there again. Che Benny the other way. Under a minute left. Oh, and another spurned opportunity, this time by King. That was a real chance. And with 48.5 seconds left, one last opportunity for these two teams to talk it over. A goal there for Trinidad and Tobago would have given them a real shot at it down the stretch, but now they have to do, well, not quite the unthinkable, but they'd have to do something rather special to save themselves now. That goal from Patrick Ruiz has Guatemala on course for 3 points at the moment. It's not quite over, but Trinidad and Tobago have to score, frankly, in the next 10 to 15 seconds. That's the kind of territory we're in right now. Unless that happens, Guatemala will be firmly back at the top of the group, pending the U.S.'s result right after this one ends. Reyes just trying to use up the clock. It was flicked and flicked wide by Wanderlei Ruiz, who could have used a little bit of time there. It gives it right back to Trinidad and Tobago. They will get a chance at it. Benny. And still! Oh! Big stop by Reyes. I think he gets a glove on that. That's a huge stop. 32 seconds. Benny just blasted into traffic. He'll have to try again. He tries another one. And again, both are blocked. Just trying to find a ricochet to go their way. And he will try a fourth time. Is that a foul? Yes, it is, against Guatemala. A late set piece here. Trinidad and Tobago. And again, it's one they have to score from if they're going to have any chance of turning this around. Che Benny called upon for the Soca Warriors. Plays it out, and that's another block by Reyes off the Punangaran shot. Final 20 seconds. Benny has it blocked. Alvarado tries to leak out the other way. Alvarado plays it across. It's blocked. Saved. Not cleared, and it's off both posts. But it's going to allow the final seconds to tick away. And a late Guatemala flurry is enough to see it out. They could have had a few more at the end. Trinidad and Tobago had a couple of real chances to get a couple of goals at the end as well. Trinidad and Tobago left on their feet. Guatemala holds on for a 5-3 win that takes them back to the top of Group C at the Concacaf Futsal Championship. We expected some late drama. We nearly got it. Frankly, great extra effort at the end by Trinidad and Tobago. But that man, Jose Reyes, who didn't have a ton to do before that late flurry, he's able to make the stops necessary to see Guatemala get 6 points out of a possible 6 to start this 2024 Concacaf Futsal Championship group stage. Unfortunately for Trinidad and Tobago, That essentially means for them, pending some help from the Dominican Republic in our second game, that they are going to have to go through the third place route if they are to qualify for their first ever knockout stage. Che Benny, the man that just walked off the screen there, so good today. 2 goals and an assist for Trinidad and Tobago. Guatemala, however, just too much of them. 5 second-half goals from them is enough to seal the points. Before a brief intermission, we bring you the full-time highlights. 2 goals in the first half for Trinidad and Tobago. Che Benny scoring the first, facilitating on the second, and it was just a bunch of missed opportunities for Guatemala in the first half. Aguilar, Alvarado, both Ruizes, Peñac, you name them, all thwarted by Andre Marchand, and also the post. Sandoval there hitting the woodwork, and felt like Trinidad and Tobago really had an opportunity to take the bull by the horns in this game. They were doing just about enough defensively, and then they grabbed that second goal. Hospitales giving them a 2-0 lead, and that really felt like a turning point in the first half. Guatemala and Peñac and company, they had real chances, real chances in that first half, but Marchand and company were able to hold on to that 2-goal cushion. Carlos Estrada at times perplexed on the Guatemalan bench, but then the tide turned. Brian Santizo off a ricochet, giving Guatemala hope early in the second half, and that turned out to be the springboard to a fantastic comeback. Alvarado had opportunities throughout the match. He was thwarted on multiple occasions, but then Alan Aguilar equalizing off the bar and in to make it 2-2 early in the second half, and that's really when everything changed. The Guatemala contingent made their voices heard, and then finally Alvarado scoring after so many missed chances. That completed the turnaround to make it 3-2, and then they would add a fourth. Sandoval with a classy finish with his left boot. That made it a 4-2 lead. But Trinidad and Tobago weren't done yet. Despite some smiles amongst the Guatemalan contingent, Che Benny dragging them back into it after coming off the bench to make it 4-3 with 5 minutes to go. However, there would be a 5th goal after some more missed opportunities from Guatemala. They were really the aggressors throughout a big chunk of the match. But finally, Patrick Ruiz, after he had a few close calls, he buries his big chance, and that gave Guatemala a 5-3 lead, which would be just about enough to hold off Trinidad and Tobago here on match day 2. And they nearly scored a couple more. At one point, they hit both posts down the stretch as well, but it finishes Guatemala winning by 5-3. A thriller in our first game. We will have a chance to have a brief intermission. The U.S. and the Dominican Republic still to come here in Group C at the Concacaf Futsal Championship. Guatemala wins the first game 5-3. They're at the top of Group C with 1 game in Group C still to be played.